Well, hello everyone. I'm back a little sooner than I'd planned. I started thinking a little bit last night after I made the videos about Fernie Boy 100 and geocentrism. I'd started remembering some of the comments on Cool Hard Logic's video back when I made that light trail demonstration between, reasonable-minded people and Fernie Boy, and sort of what those comments went like. And it was interesting, of course. As I mentioned in the previous videos, I had made an assertion to Fernie Boy that the differing length star trails that you could see in a time-lapse video could easily be explained by a rotating Earth. And he said no, and I said, well, any rotating body could capture the same differing length light trails, assuming that the objects, the light sources, were at differing distances from the axis of rotation of the rotating body. And he said absolutely not. And so I went about and I said, well, I'm going to make a demonstration. And he actually even accused me, before I made the demonstration, said that I wouldn't do it. We'll see if you make that. We'll see if it even happens. He was very... I had every intention of making the video. And I'm not sure if there was a motive or a ploy involved there. At any rate, then I made the video, and he came back and he said, I told you all along that's what would happen. And he came up with his little explanation for why. Well, no, he didn't. He said that I would fail, that the experiment would fail. And of course that's all archived. It's a million pages back. It would be an archaeological expedition to find the comments, but they are there. But that's sort of what I wanted to bring up tonight. The subject of this video is the moving goalposts and the act of sort of regrouping. Every time evidence comes out, there's a regrouping, because there's no way that someone like Fernie Boy 100 or any geocentrist and most theists are going to heed any new evidence that's brought to bear. They're just not going to acknowledge it. So, for instance, when discussing a fixed Earth, there becomes a problem once scientists were able to measure the distance to very distant objects through parallax and basic trig calculations. The amateur geocentrists had to challenge those notions. Now, they have no reason to challenge the distances to distant bodies except when they're trying to defend geocentrism, because of course if those distant extraterrestrial bodies are rotating around the Earth at once every 24 hours at the distances that we've measured them at, they're traveling at thousands of times the speed of light and even beyond that. I mean, they're things that are beyond the realm of acceptable physics for sure. And so suddenly they have to say, well, no, just as I read last night from fixedearth.com, the universe is not 1/10,000,000th the size that we're told it is. Well, why are they saying that? Well, only because it contradicts what they've read or interpreted from the Bible. They wouldn't be asserting that otherwise. There would be no reason for them to. And this comes closer to home as well when you get into our own solar system and our sun. Once scientists started to understand the effects of gravity and mass, and when one body is orbiting around another body, things like the barycenter of their orbits and that sort of thing, they understood that larger mass bodies do not rotate or orbit around smaller mass bodies, right? The mass is very, very important. And so suddenly then, we've moved the goalposts now. The Earth can't be nearly as large as we've been told. Now again, they wouldn't be asserting this if the evidence that science had come up with didn't contradict what they believe, without any evidence. I read a little bit more of the Fixed Earth website today, and it's just all accusations of lies. NASA is liars. The Kepler telescope is a big lie. It's Copernicus was a liar. Like it's all lies. It's all about lies, right? So when it comes to our sun, Fernie Boy did a cute little demo. Now it's gone now. It's not on his YouTube channel. It might be on his Vimeo page. I don't know. But he did one, and I think he used like a grapefruit and a softball and one of those rectangular halogen work lights. And he was showing that, the sun could be like approximately the same size as the moon, which works out really well because they fit one right over the other during an eclipse, right? In any case, he has to say that the sun is much smaller because the physics of the orbital rotations wouldn't work otherwise if the Earth is the center of the universe. So then, of course, it's brought up to him, well, no, because we know that the sun is powered by nuclear fusion, and there's only a certain size of object that can support fusion of that type. And so we know that the sun has to be much larger. And of course then, well, the sun, it's a lie. It's a lie that the sun is powered by nuclear fusion. That's a lie. I don't know if he thinks that's a campfire up there, or, that's producing, all these harmful, solar wind, the radiation that we get. I'm not sure, but it's just very interesting to me that it doesn't matter what evidence you bring to bear with these people. They just won't believe it. And I think it's a projection when they say, you atheists don't need evidence because no evidence would convince you, right? Like Cy has got that little story about the guy who thought he was dead, and his family tried to convince him that he wasn't dead, but he just wouldn't believe them, so they took him to the doctor, and the doctor gave him all these tests and said, see, you're alive, and then gave him all this evidence, and the guy still didn't believe. So then he said, do dead men bleed, to the fellow, and the fellow thought about it, and he thought, well, no, I guess not, heart's not pumping, etc., etc. And so the doctor pricked his finger right away, and of course blood comes out, and the guy looks down at his finger and he says, I guess dead men do bleed. And so of course, I always find it cute that they come up with these stories, these little anecdotes that never happen, right? I mean, they tell them almost as if this is a real story, but that never happened. Same with the Bob the Drunk story with the one cop town or whatever. Okay, that one I can, I guess, forgive because it's meant to be more of a storytelling. But this one here, they're equating it, right? It's supposed to be analogous to an atheist, that you just can't give them enough evidence that they'll ever believe. And I disagree with that. There would be a certain amount of evidence that would lead me to accept theism, that would accept that there was a God. I'm not sure exactly what that is at this point. It would have to be pretty concrete. I would say the creator of everything should be able to supply a decent amount of evidence, right, to convince little old me. But I find it interesting that they project this onto atheists, that there's no amount of evidence that would lead them to believe, when you can clearly bring to bear copious amounts of scientific evidence about the distances to other objects, about how we measure those things, that the math is there for anyone. Quite frankly, I'm not quite enough of a math geek to want to go through all of that, but it's there. It's not a mystery. Anybody with reasonable skills, reasoning skills, could take this on themselves. But they won't do it. They will not accept anything you bring to bear is going to be rejected out of hand. It's going to be a lie. It's going to be a conspiracy theory. Fernie Boy did have once on his channel, again, it's gone now, a video that the moon gives off its own light, because of course, according to him, this is biblical. Might be up for interpretation. I'm not sure. I'm not a Bible scholar. And I remember the comment thread about that, and he came up with all kinds of differing potential reasons why, you know, different luminescent rocks. I'm not sure. So that's really it for tonight. I just wanted to touch on those couple of points that they like to project onto us: the rigidity of their own position, and this shifting sands. Whenever new evidence is brought to light that contradicts what's in the Bible, suddenly something else is a lie. There's a new lie in town. And thinking about all this today while I was working reminded me of another fellow that I was battling a little bit on some comments threads, and that's good old Megasage 007. I'm sure most of you have seen him. If you haven't, he's a real trip. He's quite the guy. And the earth does not move. It will test your fortitude to stand on Mother Earth. And it's very funny. It's unintentional comedy. I mean, if he's a Poe, he's a very good one. Him and his ZZ Top buddy there. And I noticed his channel has changed a little bit. I'm not sure if he's moved. I might have to watch some of his old videos again, because I haven't been down the Megasage road for quite a while. But he's good for a laugh, if nothing else. At any rate, that's enough for tonight. I'm starting to ramble. Hope everybody has a good week. Thanks for watching.